Welcome back. We are going to continue our conversation with Roger Stone, joining us for a first on CNN interview about Donald Trump, a man he still calls a friend after 35 years, a man, though, who says that he fired Roger Stone. Roger Stone says he left the Trump camp. This has all happened today. Let's continue our conversation. Thank you for being here. In a New Yorker article in 2008, Trump called you, quote, a stone-cold loser. He said you take credit for things that you didn't do. Did it happen? And then why did you go back to the camp?
Well, he definitely did say that. We had a temporary falling out over Eliot Spitzer, who I worked to drive from public life because I thought he was a bad guy. I think I turned out to be right about that. We were subsequently reconciled, and we put that behind us, and I continue to call him a friend.
Did Donald Trump apologize to you for that? We don't hear him apologize.
No, and he doesn't need to, because we're guys, and we get past these things.
What do you mean you're guys?
We're
Women
guys.
get past things, too.
Well,
Come on.
my wife gets past things a lot slower, but...
Are you saying all women do?
No.
Not fair.
No, but the point is, we're not touchy-feely. I didn't expect apology, and I didn't need one. We are reconciled, and we are friends.
So let's talk about how it is that Donald Trump seems to stay bulletproof. Many people pointed to the comments he made about Senator John McCain and his military service to this country and said, wow, over the line, how is he going to make it through this one? You wait until the next poll comes out, and he's at the top again.
Yeah, that's because Donald Trump recognized something that political elites don't understand. John McCain is not held in high stead by the veterans in this country. 1,000 veterans died waiting for medical care under Obama. That was covered up. The U.S. Senate helped the cover-up, so nobody has been held responsible for that. It's like Benghazi. People screw up, Americans die, nobody's held accountable.
My question is, how does Donald Trump remain bulletproof?
Well, because he is out on the stump, and everywhere he goes, veterans come up to him and they say, please, Mr. Trump, I can't get medical care. I have to wait 20 days to see a doctor. My brother died in the hospital, in the Veterans Hospital, waiting for medical care. He has his finger on the pulse of what people believed, and therefore, I think one of the reasons why there was no backfire is both POW families and veterans in this country do not have a high regard for Senator McCain, who's been on the Veterans Affairs Committee for 30 years.
Can you take me back to Trump's announcement speech?
Yes.
When he said he went completely off script. Am I right?
Well, there was no script.
There was no script. But anything
script.
you may have discussed, completely off any script discussion that there may have been. And what he said about illegal immigrants in this country offended many people. It also struck a nerve with many, and it really ignited this debate in this primary about immigrants and the 11 million undocumented workers. Was that by chance, or was that always a plan within the Trump camp to be the issue?
That was Trump speaking from his heart, from his gut.
Right, but was that what you thought would be? Did you guys say, all right, illegal immigration and dealing with the undocumented workers is going to be the issue of the campaign? That's what we're going to start on. Within
the context of the Republican nomination fight, it was always clear that this was going to be an issue that would have enormous resonance. And everybody, all these other candidates have a mixed record. Some were for amnesty, some were for amnesty now, others forgot that they were for amnesty. Trump had straight talk on this issue, and I think the mainstream media misread the mood of Republicans on this issue. Then secondarily, the fact that Trump was correct was, I think, underlined by the murder in San Francisco by an illegal who got in and out of the country five times. Correct. And that, in turn, I think, helped highlight a number of other horrific crimes that were perpetrated by illegal immigrants.
Donald Trump has been asked by our Dana Bash, by a number of reporters, as have other candidates, what they would do with the 11 million undocumented workers in this country right now. He was asked it again by Chris Wallace on Thursday night, and he didn't lay out, and I will say some of the other candidates have not laid out a comprehensive plan yet. Were you working with him on a comprehensive plan, and were you dismayed, disappointed, that if this was issue number one for him, lay out your solution about what you're going to do with those people in this country now?
Well, that's what a campaign is about, and you don't have to put out all your issue material on day one.
No, but they weren't asking on day one.
I think he's been pretty clear on the stump about the fact that he's opposed to amnesty, and he's opposed to waving a wand and legalizing 11 million illegals.
But he said, we'll handle it. He didn't say how.
But no one speaks for Donald Trump but Donald Trump. And
Did you have I'm interested if you had those conversations with him and you said to him, Donald, we have to come up with a plan and we have to lay this out step by step. What is your plan? Take us into his thinking.
I can't do that without violating my agreement of confidentiality. Let's just say he makes his own decisions. He has views on this that I think are quite articulate and well thought out. I expect his campaign will release them.
What would your recommendation be when it comes to immigration and illegal immigration in this country and those 11 million undocumented workers?
Well, first of all, I would expel those with criminal records first. And then
400,000, many of them criminals were deported in the last 2 years each year.
And who can be found through driver's licenses and other net-based solutions. Then secondarily, I would expel the rest of those people, but with some mechanism in which they can reply to come back if they will come back legally and take a job, pay taxes, and so on. It is untenable to try to send some back and not others. I think you have to send everybody back and start over again. A nation that doesn't have secure borders is not a nation.
Who did you find to be the most formidable competitor to Donald Trump on the stage on Thursday night, either on the 5 o'clock debate or the 9 o'clock debate?
This was an example of one giant and 9 pygmies. There's nobody there who...
More than 9. You had 17 total.
Well, if you take both debates, that's true. Look, there's a lot of people there that I personally like. For example, I think that Rand Paul's message is more compelling than Rand Paul himself. I'm a libertarian. I have a number of disagreements with Donald Trump, but I'm not the one running for president. He is, and my expertise is in how to get elected. So I never try to impose my views on the candidates I work for. At the same time, there has to be some fundamental agreement between us, or you can't get along.
If you said you were disappointed in Donald Trump's debate performance, was there no one who impressed you?
I'm sorry, say that again.
You said you were disappointed in Donald Trump's debate performance.
I don't think I said that. I think he had a number of really good moments. For example, the question...
Dismayed at some of it.
Dismayed at some of it, yes, because he wasn't asked public policy issues. Why was only Donald Trump being asked personal issues and everybody else is being asked public policy issues? Frankly,
he wasn't just asked personal. He was not just asked personal questions.
By and large, they really didn't give him any opportunity.
So I'm very interested because this has been your career for decades. Who else impressed you?
I thought that John Kasich had a good debate. I thought Jeb Bush had a terrible debate. I mean, this guy is so boring that his podium almost fell asleep. I thought that
Carly Fiorina?
I thought she had an excellent performance in the first debate. She should clearly be at the big kids table.
You're not going to work for any of the other competitors.
Correct.
What are you going to do next, Roger Stone?
I have a book coming out on October 6th called The Clintons' War on Women that will explain how Bill Clinton has sexually assaulted women and Hillary Clinton has basically run the intimidation and cover-up of those crimes.
Let me ask you finally, since you bring up the Clintons, do you know anything about the phone call between former President Bill Clinton and Donald Trump ahead of Trump jumping into the race?
Nothing whatsoever. I was actually dismayed to see that somebody leaked that because, of course, Bill Clinton is not held in high regard by Republican primary voters.
Will Donald Trump win the Republican nomination?
He can win the Republican nomination. He needs to get his campaign back on track.
Roger Stone, appreciate you being with me.
Happy to be here.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You're going to hear what Donald Trump has to say about exactly that tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. Eastern. Jake Tapper interviews Donald Trump live on CNN's State of the Union. Don't miss it. We'll be right back.